Obviously a unique weekend to deal with. Our team had great work yesterday. Wasn't easy to rekindle a fire, but we were able to do that. We have standards that have to be met. It's been a unique year, to say the least, with dealing with all of the time away that the squad spent and getting back in rhythm. Didn't play near as well the second week as the first week, which puts certainly the pressure right here. I'm 100% responsible for that because our standards have to be set by the head football coach. I don't think there's any question that we have some guys playing really well. Can't say enough great things about the way we've pressured a quarterback. Vic DeMickaje has been outstanding. You see Chris Rump showing up, Ben Fry. The defensive front has really set a tone for us. I think our offensive line has been better and good. Devery Hamilton has played really, really well, and that needs to be said because people don't see that near enough. But do we need consistency? Absolutely. Do we need a little bit more hunger? Absolutely. I'm looking forward to the week of practice, the opportunities as they present themselves, continuing to move forward, and we will attack the problems. We've never run away from any issues since we've been here, and we're certainly not running away from this one. So with that, I will take your questions.
Let's first go to Aaron Beard.
Hey, Dave, you mentioned the pressure you're getting up front on quarterbacks. I think it's 9 sacks in 2 games. It wasn't exactly the normal preseason drills in terms of how many guys you have available and tackling. How have you guys handled sort of getting this defense ready to go to get this kind of start up front?
Well, one of the things you do, and we're able to do, you do a lot of your contact one-on-one, and so we have a lot of pass rush work. Our ones versus our ones. We do half-line pass rush work where you're working your twist in different circumstances against ones versus ones. I think Coach Fry and Coach Albert have done a great job of doing that, of setting a tone. And I think that experience of the defensive front is paying off. They understand our standards of play and the consistency we have to have. And I think, and I really expect this to get better and better. Now, you're going to run into some really fine offensive lines. Notre Dame had one, absolutely. Boston College had a good offensive line. But that's the work that we've got to go get done, and hopefully we get better as the season goes along and we don't see any kind of fade off in that regard.
To follow up, did you have any concerns coming in with COVID interrupting and altering routines that maybe offense would be ahead of defense? Your defensive guys might have some trouble with, just kind of adjusting to everything. Everything's been so strange.
Well, we have not had as much of a COVID issue as some other teams as far as players being out of practice. We really, once we've started practice, all of our problems were behind and came somewhat from home. So our players have been phenomenal. The thing that you don't have is that with either circumstances where you have opt-outs or you've had people that have some long-term injuries, and then you have a team that's 129 days without an organized workout, I think the slowness of preparation has been really challenging. The most challenging thing I've been around, we don't have the numbers of people when it comes to non-scholarship and scholarship people that we've had available to practice. So you're trying to reinvent the wheel rather than using practice formulas and scripts that we've used for 20, 25 years that get a team ready to play. We're having to kind of step by step see what we have, do things differently, and you're to some degree having to learn on the run as to what's going to be effective. And obviously, I hold myself responsible for that. And I really was angry with myself because I didn't think we were as prepared as we needed to be, not only for Boston College, but I thought for Notre Dame. So we've got to take those next steps. And when you miss some foundation work, which is what I think we've lost, I think that hurts us. We have standards we work by and the way we do things, and whether it's red zone or whether it's any part of the game in kicking, any part of the offense or defense, yes, I have a lot of concerns still as to what's going to be the catch-up mode when you have a unique circumstance to practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, which are your big work days.
Thank you.
Let's go to Jim Sumner.
Hey, David. Belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
Going back to the second half of last season, ball security and red zone inefficiency have become significant impediments to Duke putting points on the board. What do you see the problems in those areas, and how do you get them fixed?
Well, I don't tie anything into last year and this year, Jim. There's really no connection with a lot of different players in a different circumstance. I think with us is what I just described. You have a difficult time knowing right where we are. We had one scrimmage in the fall camp, and that was it. We had no scrimmages from spring, which obviously we didn't get a spring. So trying to get a team game ready, and that's one of the things I've critiqued myself as a play caller. When you see things or you try things, you better know what's game ready. And I'm not going to blame a player if it's not executed just like it should have been, if we haven't put it in a circumstance where it's game ready. So it kind of goes back to all of those challenges. Now, taking care of the football, what I call staying belly down. I don't want to see people carrying the ball with turning their belly up. Those are going to be fumbles. People have to finish catches and runs. Quarterbacks have to be accountable where they put the ball. Receivers have to be accountable where they are on the field. And if that sounds like coaching, it is on my part. And you have to coach all of those little things to take care of a football and put yourself in position to put touchdowns together. And the reality is this: we've probably left 8 touchdowns on the field in 2 games. And we know we turned it over 5 times in this past ball game, and when you do that, you're not going to win. Can you fix it? Yes, you've got to go fix it out there on the practice field.
If I can, let me ask you about Virginia. They've had a lot of success against Duke since Bronco took over. What are they doing against Duke, and how do you counter that?
They're really a good defensive, systematic team. I think they're as intricate defensively as anybody we play. They've done a good job of recruiting players. Their players are well prepared. I've known Bronco for a long, long time. They've had some good fortune with some guys. Bryce Perkins coming in there made a huge difference. They were Coastal Division champions for a reason a year ago, and they've got a lot of players back that return. So they're challenging for a lot of people. And certainly we hadn't played as well as we would like against them. And Virginia was a team we had been playing well against. So we've got to turn that worm, and we just got to go out and do the things that you do to win football games. First of all, as Coach Bryant used to say, more games are lost than won. We can't go out there and lose the game with turnovers. And a year ago, we wrapped up gifts and gave it to them a year ago.
Let's go to Mike Barber.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Coach. I wanted to ask you guys have played 2 games. Certainly that helps you kind of learn about yourself. They haven't played yet. How big a disadvantage is it for you that you have no fresh video of them?
I don't like openers, period. I think it's the craziest thing I've ever been through. I doubt this has ever happened in college football where a team had 3 openers, 3 games you play where you have no film to study. We know a lot about Virginia, but you're still not looking at the 2020 version of Virginia, any changes that they've made, exactly what they're going to be. So it's been challenging. Our players are a little irritable about it, to be real honest with you. It's a unique setting. It's what we've been given. So we have to deal with it and just move forward.
They have a new quarterback, so potentially a change in how they look offensively. Does that only add to the challenge?
Yeah, there's no question it does, and they're very, as I said, intricate defensively. You don't know if they're going to be 3 down, 4 down, what their approach, even or odd fronts. Offensively, you know, their staff has been there. We have older tape before Bryce. We're not sure, though, what they're going to do. They'll have some different skill people, but the Virginia team will be a balanced team. And we've got to line up and play them regardless on either side of the ball or the kicking game, what they do.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Mark Armstrong.
David, I wanted to ask you, Pro Football Focus put out a stat today, most positively graded plays in 2020 among Power 5 quarterbacks, and had Chase in the top spot. What's your take on that, and does that reflect the way you think he's played so far?
You'll have to be specific as to what they were rating. Pro Football Focus rates a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have any information beyond most positively graded plays is how they worded that.
Right, so they like some of the big plays that he's made. There's no question. What I would say in that regard, a few scrambles, some great throws against Notre Dame, a very good, obviously, defensive football team that pitched a shutout the second week. There's no question that he has positive plays. What I'm looking for from Chase, from my perspective, is consistency. What the first job a quarterback has is to make the other 10 people around him right. And so along with this ability he has to make plays, we're looking for consistency, but he certainly has had some really positive plays that have impacted our team to this point in a positive way. And I'm assuming that's what they're looking at.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Evan Colan.
You mentioned after Saturday's game that Chase was trying to force too many plays, and that kind of led to some of the turnovers. You know, what have you worked with him specifically so far in practice? What do you look forward to working with him, you know, throughout the rest of the week to sort of combat that?
Well, you have to go through your progression. One of the things that when you're watching film, and that's the biggest part of Sunday, is correcting mistakes and looking at the ball game. Then you go out to practice and you're actually practicing in some of those circumstances. But the biggest thing is a quarterback should never surprise you with his decision making. If we are on the same page, if progression is happening as it should, and then you also have to understand that everybody has to be on the same page. Part of a quarterback's job during the week is to communicate. He's the functional part, not only with me, but with receivers, get people where they need to be. And then again, when you're working, progression works. And so finding that consistency, being in a new system, is always a bit challenging.
All right, let's go to Tom Shanahan.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned the defensive line play earlier. 3 of those guys are veterans, but Dwayne Carter seems to have played really well, and then Ben Fry has played well. Carter, despite his youth, and then Ben Fry, despite being only listed at 255. Talk about how well those guys have played.
Well, Ben Fry, let's just start with him, is a veteran player that hadn't played a lot because of injury. He is a very strong young man. His weight is not as much as those other guys, but he's a great wrestler in high school. He's got great hands and feet. He's tenacious. He's got a lot of fight in him. I love his spirit and attitude. Dwayne is a heck of an athlete, a big guy that's a heck of an athlete. He's a great high school baseball player, just a good skilled athlete, again, with feet, hands, and he's going to do nothing but grow and grow. And I think we've got some really good young defensive linemen that we're going to see a little bit more of as the season progresses. I'm excited about that position now and as it's coming forward.
Thank you.
Really proud of our team. We had today on Monday morning, our off day, an opportunity to check voter registration, and then those that were not registered, we were able to register them. Our staff here in football did a great job with that. We were excited that so many of them had taken the initiative. We had given them all the information, to get registered. And so they had taken the initiative to register. We've got the other guys registered. We should have everybody voting. And we're also working with them to get their absentee ballots sent to them, so those that are registered in other states have the opportunity to exercise their right to vote, which is more important than ever.
Spectacular Magazine. We on the scene.